Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could I have the roll call?
Councilmember Boff.
Here.
Councilmember Stimmel.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Present.
Councilmember Strobehn.
I am here.
Councilmember Cerveny. Here. Mayor Council.
Here. Thank you. Next is the consent agenda. If there are no requests for any items to be removed, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the mayor's report. I do have a few things that I want to share with the council this evening. First of all, I just want to mention that Councilmember Boff and I did attend the Clark County Law Enforcement Memorial on Thursday, May 16th. It was a very well done event. I have not attended that before. I just want to mention that Chief Denny was there representing the center. He was one of the honor guards and did a great job. So Chief is not here this evening, but there's one statistic that I'll share with the group. Nationwide, there were 163 law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty in 2018. That's an awful lot of lives that were lost. So when we see our men and women in uniform, I think we all owe them just a simple thank you for their service and appreciate what they're doing for us. But I'm really glad that we had a chance to go down there, and I think Doug can concur that it was very well done. Also, I just want to mention that Monday, May 27th, is Memorial Day. All the city offices will be closed, and the Center American Legion Post 189 will be having a Memorial Day ceremony at the Center Cemetery. The address for the cemetery is 3206 Northeast 392nd Circle, and I believe that starts at 11 a.m. 11:30. 11:30? Okay, so 11:30 a.m. So everybody's welcome, and I hope to see everybody there. I also just want to mention that my next town hall will be Wednesday, June 5th. They begin at 6:30 in the evening, and they're held at the Public Works conference room there on Pacific Highway. So one other thing I wanted to bring to the council's attention this evening, and Laura, could you pull up that website for the Clark County 4th at the Fairgrounds celebration? So I've been attending meetings with representatives from Ridgefield, Clark County, the event center there at the Fairgrounds, and ALNA. And Julie Olson, County Councilor Julie Olson, has been spearheading this for the county to have a celebration at the Fairgrounds for the 4th of July. So this will be the inaugural celebration. This is a new event for Clark County. You'll start hearing more about it starting May 27th. It'll be advertised on the radio, and there'll be more information forthcoming. But I did want to share it with the council. It's going to be quite the event. If you could just scroll down a little bit, there is a fireworks show. There's a battle of the bands. There'll be a kids zone, so there'll be a lot of activities for children throughout the day, and a rather large food court as well. So this will be a good option for people that want to enjoy fireworks, and it's sanctioned by Clark County and the Clark County Fire and Rescue. So just information, and it is available, and there will be more information forthcoming on that. So there will be two other Clark County sanctioned events, of course, at the Clark County. Well, of course, the Fairgrounds is the new one. The Independence Day at Fort Vancouver and Pearson Field, and then there'll also be a celebration at the Port of Kaminista-Washougal on the 4th. So just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. And then for those of us that live kind of on the north side of town, today some construction started in Pacific Highway. Clark Public Utility is installing a water line that's going, there's about 2,800 linear feet of pipe that has to be put in Pacific Highway to service the new subdivision at Riverside Estates. So be careful when you're driving through that. It should be done. I think we've got about a month to get that done, if I understand it right. Yeah. So that's all I have this evening. Mr. Cairns, our city attorney, is not here this evening. He's absent and excused. So with that, we can go on to council comments. Councilmember Boff.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. As the Mayor mentioned, the law enforcement memorial was well attended, and it was very moving. It was the first time I had attended that event. I wasn't sure just what to expect, and it was very, very moving. When I got home, I told my wife about it and went through the program with her, and she felt she probably couldn't have held up very well, but it was very moving. In addition to attending that, I attended the C-TRAN board meeting last Tuesday. Very good meeting, very positive meeting. The board recognized 2 employees, also very moving situation. Passenger Service Supervisor Faith Piet retired, and she has spent 23 years with C-TRAN, which I think is quite commendable. And what was not on the agenda, there was a special award, a plaque that was given to driver. Her name is Diana Stewart, and you may have read about the situation in the Columbian. But on April 19th, Diana was driving her bus. I think it was the 72 route, and she was driving on Fort Plain Boulevard near northeast Covington. There were no passengers at the time. This was about 6 p.m. She made a stop to pick up a passenger, and that passenger, a man, got on board. When he got on board, he intimated that he had a gun, and he demanded that she drive him to Portland. She kept her cool. She got onto 205 heading south, and she activated a special alarm, which the buses have. And when that alarm is activated, it sends a one-way radio communication to the dispatch center. That way the dispatchers could hear the conversation going on in the bus, and they knew it was a hijack situation. Law enforcement was notified, and law enforcement responded, and law enforcement eventually stopped the bus on 205. I've read 3 newspaper and television reports. There's a little bit of conflict as to how they actually stopped the bus. But essentially, it was heavy traffic. They did bring the bus to a stop, and they arrested the hijacker. So the driver was very cool, and she was acknowledged for her coolness under pressure. It was very nice to see the nice plaque and the round of applause that she got from the people attending the meeting. So the biggest issue going on in C-TRAN recently has been a proposed service change in September. There have been public hearings, many comments. The previous meeting in March had a lot of public testimony, and it was decided to pass the changes with three modifications. Route number 80 was decided that it said there would be no changes after all. That route runs from Van Mall to Fisher's Landing. Route 71 runs up and down Highway 99, and it was proposed that Route 71 would continue onto the new waterfront. And during peak times, there will be more frequent service. The service frequency will not change. However, the board made a decision to not run the bus all the way down to the new waterfront at the present time. They just don't feel that there will be enough ridership down there willing to look at it in the future. Instead, Route 71 will make a loop in downtown Vancouver. It will run past City Hall and then by Smith Tower. The previous recommendation did not have that happening. The most sensitive change was Route 39, which runs currently running down Fort Plain Boulevard over 33rd Street, runs to the VA Center, connects the VA hospital over to Rose Village. There was a lot of unhappiness about that proposed change to eliminate the route entirely. C-TRAN has decided to continue a modified version, a very shortened version of 39. VA center will still be connected to Rose Village. And during peak hours, there will be the connector service will run between the VA center and Rose Village. And during non-peak hours, the dial-a-ride service will be available. It didn't please everyone, as you might expect, but it pleased a lot of people just knowing that C-Tran did not eliminate that connection between the VA center and Rose Village. The C-Tran admin building is still being brought up to C-Tran standards. C-Tran is moving into a new building for C-Tran. They hope to have the monthly meetings in the new building in July or August at the latest. It's a little behind schedule. The electrical work is taking a little bit longer. It's a 26-year-old building, so they're running into a few surprises as they go along. Drywall is being installed right now, and mudding is going on. And so hopefully we'll be having meetings there by August. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Very good. Okay, and I just want to mention we have a very special guest here this evening. Representative Larry Hoff is with us, and he's here this evening with his wife Renee. So we'll have an opportunity if you want to say something a little bit later, Larry. And I understand that you will be having a town hall along with Representative Vic and Senator Rivers.
We have 3 town halls on Saturday. I don't know exactly why we picked Memorial Day weekend.
Well,
But we did. And so actually we're not, we're in Yakko and Canastore, Shubel, and Salmon Creek. That's
Wonderful.
Saturday.
so.
So come out if you're bored.
Okay, well, thank you for that, and again, thanks for being here this evening. Okay, Councilmember Stimmel.
Thanks, Mayor. June 22nd, the Little League is hosting an all-star tournament. This is kind of a shared duty that bounces around from league to league, but this year we'll be hosting several games beginning on the 22nd. We only have one meeting between now and then, so I thought I'd mention it now. The agenda and schedule, exact date and times, I hope to have for our June 12th meeting, something like that, something mid-June. And after that, we'll only have 1 week. So just wanted to mention it now. It's going to be a pretty awesome opportunity. We hope to have something added to the reader board. Hopefully we get Mayor out there to say a few words. Anyway, it's going to be a fun time. It'll be the last time I think we'll have Smoke and Franks out there for the summer, and it's going to be pretty awesome. We're working on adding a scoreboard to the third field that doesn't have any AC power, so there's not a lot there. But we're working on a scoreboard, working on a PA system so the kids can hear their names. It makes it a lot of fun. Anyway, hope to see the whole town out there. So I'll follow up on June 12th with more information, but heads up, June 22nd.
Great, thank you very much. Councilmember Williams.
Mayor, thank you. If you're going to be in Yakko Saturday, I'll be on the train taking it out at noon, so I'll be conductor that day. I'll say hi. Other than that, no, I don't have any comments, sir.
Very good. Councilmember Strobehn.
I just wanted to reiterate something John said at the last meeting. He was thanking Matt and Public Works on the baseball fields. I just came from my son's baseball game to here, and I gotta tell you, it looks top notch there. You know, so I just wanted to say thank you. I know the kids thank you as well.
Great, thank you very much. Councilmember Cerveny.
In addition to what's already been said, we do have our graduation coming up soon, and our recognition night is Thursday, June 6th. So that is the evening that all of our seniors will be recognized for the different specialties that they have and the graduating honors. And I've been working with the counselors once again this year on behalf of the La Center Community Foundation Scholarship, and making sure we don't have any kids falling through the cracks and that we can hand out as many scholarships as possible. So it would be great, anyone that can, to come and applaud their accomplishments and wish them well as they go out into adulthood. And, just be present, be involved with the evening's event. It starts at 6:30 at the high school commons. And each year, I'm always astounded at the talent and the creativity that many of our students have, and the depth of the graduation awards that are received in our small town. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next are staff reports. We do have 2 staff reports this evening. The first one will be presented by our Contract Community Development Director, Mr. Jeff Swanson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening and present the staff report for community development for the month of May. In commercial development, Heritage Building staff received the building permit plans for the new 8,800 square foot 2-story office retail building. The building is known as Building B, third and final phase in the Heritage Center complex. The SEPA and public comment period ended April 24th. Staff and the consultant have issued a final notice of decision approving the site plan on May 6th, and construction is expected spring of 2019. I think we'll say late spring 2019 at this point. The Center Middle School, the school district continues to work on building permit plans. Construction is scheduled to start this summer, and the engineering plans were submitted April 23rd and are currently being reviewed by city staff. On housing, a lot going on with housing in our community. Construction of single-family residential homes continues to increase and is expected to continue well into 2019. To date, staff have received 21 single-family residential permit submissions, and 3 remain in plan review status. On the Riverside Estates, Mayor already mentioned the water line going in along Pacific Highway to serve that development. Grading and utility work are currently continuing. Staff and consultants are working on the post-decision review to finalize the phasing, identify the density per phase, parks elements, multi-family product type in the phase 3 portion of that project, and possible neighborhood park in the phase 4 portion of the project. The PDR may be approved by staff subject to a development agreement, which will be approved by the City Council. And I think we're hoping to see maybe that development agreement come as early as the next City Council meeting, perhaps as late as the following one. So we're really close on the development agreement for that project. On April 15th.
Excuse me, Jeff, I just might mention too that we've been discussing the possibility of having a work session, the meeting when we have the development agreement ready to be presented to council that evening before the city council meeting, specifically to go over that. So just kind of a heads up on that.
Okay. On April 15th, City Council conducted a public meeting and approved an interim agreement prior to finalization of this development agreement. Phase 1 subdivision plans were then approved on April 16th, and the plans for the force main and the pump station are still under review. For Highland Terrace, the applicant's engineer submitted the first set of engineering drawings on April 12th. The plat was extended, this particular plat was extended in 2017 and expires in December of 2020. Subdivision will be phased for their construction, and the applicant plans to start construction on the first phase this summer. For the Holly subdivision, staff and consultant found the application technically complete on April 18th. The developer submitted plans for a 39-home subdivision. The city contracted with consulting firm WSP USA, which formerly known as Berger Aban, to conduct a land use review. And a public hearing on a proposed preliminary plat is tentatively set for Thursday, June 13th, beginning 4:30 here at City Hall. And the public is invited to testify orally or in writing. Stevens Hillside, this 86-lot subdivision is expected to break ground this year. Case subdivision, the first home is complete. Foothill Estates, homes are under construction, well under construction in phases 1 and 2. Heritage Country Estates, last year there were 43 building permits within this subdivision. Residents have scheduled a pre-application conference with the city, that was May 14th, determine the process for establishing a preliminary plat for the area, and their goal is to create lots that reflect the current circumstances on the ground, so adjusting some of those lot lines. Riverside Apartments, so this is the phase 3 of the Riverside Estates development. The city conducted a pre-application conference with the developer on May 14th, and the applicant proposes to obtain site plan approval to construct 7 buildings in 2 phases for a total of 144 apartments in clusters of 24 units. The amenities that they're proposing include a clubhouse, pool, park, gym, and basketball court, and some open space. On annexations, Bowling Creek, the 17-acre parcel owned by the La Center School District. On May 13th, the school district submitted the 60% petition to annex. City staff and consultants will begin the SEPA and county certification process, and City Council might conduct a public hearing on the annexation petition in late June or early July. On the Minihan annexation, City Council annexed 14.37 acres south of Holly Park. This was March 27th. And so the City Council has approved annexation of that property, and that annexation is now effective. Peter Schlentz, on May 8th, the City Council reviewed the 10% notice of intent to annex and invited the applicant to submit a 60% petition to annex at their convenience, consistent with city annexation procedures. The applicant owns 100% of the 5-acre parcel, and staff anticipates the petition will be submitted shortly, and the council might conduct a public hearing on the annexation request in late June or early July. Connor Harrison annexation, May 8th, City Council reviewed 10% notice of intent to annex and invited the applicant to submit a 60% petition at their convenience, consistent with procedures. In this case, applicants own 100% of the 38.01 acre site, and staff anticipates petition will be submitted shortly, and again, public hearing on that for late June or early July. Lockwood Meadows, the applicant and Holt Homes, potential developer, were actually scheduled to meet yesterday, but that meeting has been postponed with the date uncertain at this point. And that is for, that was annexation discussion and sewer service for the proposed 71 lot subdivision. Parks and Trails, Holly Park Irrigation and Drainage. And we have, again, to thank Representative Hoff, Representative Vick, and Senator Rivers for their efforts in helping the city secure funding through the Recreation Conservation Office, RCO, grant funding, and this is to be constructed in 2019, this, the Holly Parks improvement. The Breezy Creek Trail System, this one is pending RCO grant funding. This is to acquire an easement south of the elementary school, and that's sounds like that's going to be donated. Appraisal is complete on that. To acquire 2.98 acres across the street from the high school. Appraisal is complete on that. And to construct and extend the Breezy Creek Trail south into Sternwheeler Park. Acquire and construct the trail along Bowling Creek. Appraisal is in process for that, and that is funded through the Conservation Futures program. Riverside Estates Neighborhood Park, I mentioned earlier, and that's the 4th phase of that development. And may, depending on negotiations with the developer, we may have a neighborhood park which would be eligible for park impact fee credits. Holly Subdivision Trail, this is development driven with potential for park impact fee credits as well. On long-term planning, on the lighting code, city engineer modified the city engineering standards relating to dark skies request of planning commission. On April 10th, City Council conducted a public hearing on revisions to Title 18. Council revisited the ordinance on April 24th. The motion to approve the code changes died for lack of second. Planning Commission has met again to carefully consider comments made by council members during the April public meetings and to modify their recommendation. City contracted with Berger ABAM, that's WSP USA now, to evaluate the city's critical areas ordinance for consistency with state law and to make recommendations necessary to maintain compliance with the Growth Management Act. The best available science report is complete, and that is the basis for the critical areas ordinance update. The Planning Commission will consider these changes in May of this year, this month. Tim and Landing, the mixed-use sub-area plan scope of work is under development with consultant Eric Eisman, our planning consultant. And the streetlight study for the Center Road, I believe, is ongoing. Planning Commission work plan. Planning Commission is set to work on these issues in 2019. Cottage housing, Tim and Landing sub-area plan, the accessory dwelling unit code, food cart code, multi-use trails, and researching the economic impacts of multi-use trails, and site design standards, buffers, landscaping, and aesthetics. Concurrently, the Planning Commission will continue working on the critical areas ordinance update, the shoreline master program update, and updating code language in Municipal Code Title 18, which is our development code. Other upcoming projects include the City of Ridgefield-led Discovery Corridor Adaptive Infrastructure Needs Analysis, which is a WASDOT-funded project. The Center Junction Sub-Area Plan Review and updates as we meet with developers and bring feedback. We'll bring feedback back to the Planning Commission for their consideration. And scoping out Town Center Sub-Area Plan to budget for the 2020 budget year. Next Planning Commission, last Planning Commission meeting was May 14th at 6:30. Now on economic development, again, credit to Senator Rivers and Representatives Vick and Hoff for their efforts, but the city secured $1.5 million in the 2019-2021 Washington State capital budget to conduct pre-construction work, which is planning, engineering, design, permitting work, and possible right-of-way acquisition for the Breezy Creek culvert replacement / East 4th Street widening project. So that's a huge win for the city. It's a big lift. It's going to be a complex project to work on, but we couldn't do it without the support of our state partners and our legislative delegation, who did tremendous work in bringing that funding to the city.
And excuse me, Jeff, I just want to interrupt you again. I just want to echo what you just said. Again, thank you, Representative Hoff. That was a
good one.
That was a good one. We'll put that in the good one column.
There were a few good ones.
They're just outstanding. Yeah, that's just thrilled to have
working
that.
on that particular one, as did Senator Rivers and Brandon.
Right.
In fact, it kind of started with a meeting that we had with you guys, and we said, drive out there. So we drove out there, and it needs help. So it was kind of fun to work on, and it was great to get it. As a matter of fact, there were some projects that we wanted to see funded as well that didn't make it. This one did.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. So thank you again.
Thank you very much.
By the way, that's not why I'm here, though.
Well, we're glad you're here. And I just also want to thank Mr. Swanson for all his hard work and efforts. He picked up on that literally his first week here in the center, and he took that ball and he ran with it, and we were able to meet with Senator Rivers, and he wrote the justification and application and did a phenomenal job. So I really want to thank you for that, Jeff. And
By the way, Mr. Mayor, that's the important part. I mean, seeing you guys in Olympia makes a difference. There's a lot of projects that are just submitted and kind of, well, if they happen, they happen. But when you guys come up and sell the deal and really talk about the importance for the community and things, we're designated as a citizen legislature, and it makes a difference when the citizens come to the legislature. Being a freshman, I saw that every day when I was out there this year. So, thank you for doing that.
Thank you. And I just also want to really mention Mr. Lloyd Halverson as well. He was another one that helped us with this project and helped move it along. So Lloyd's not with us tonight. Unfortunately, he's in Vienna.
Unfortunately for us, not him.
So we're thinking of him, right? So, okay, thank you, Jeff. Sorry to interrupt, but
And it's, again, it's a tribute to the leadership of the mayor and the council in pursuing these projects for the community. And certainly the 18th legislative delegation, Senator Rivers, Representative Hoff, Representative Vick, and their staff.
yeah,
Staff
absolutely,
did great
absolutely,
work,
God, phenomenal staff.
Following through and communicating with me and with Lloyd and doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So great work all around,
Yep.
great team effort there. On the TDS building, architects are completing their preliminary evaluation for structural aspects of the proposed tenant improvements and anticipating that we'll have a scope of work to do the design, engineering, and construction of tenant improvements by the end of the month. I learned today that I would receive that tomorrow.
Good.
So we're very close to having an estimate for what that next phase of work is, which is, okay, now we understand how we want to use the building, got to tear this wall down, build the wall here, and how much that's going to cost, and preparing the bid documents to put that out. So that's that next phase. We've conducted meetings with potential developers and property owners at the Center Junction, and we're discussing some development concepts that are very exciting. I've mentioned to a constituent this evening who asked how are we doing on that. So, as I'm in an interesting position with developers. I guess I'm kind of like the local priest. They'll come and they'll confess to me what they're thinking and what they're imagining could happen on a site, and I keep that to myself until they're ready to make it prime time. So it's I can assure you there are some great things in the works for the junction. A lot of potential up there.
Awesome.
On the engineering side, staff completed evaluating proposals for the engineering service proposal submitted for a request for qualification, which was advertised. And Gray and Osborne Engineering was chosen as the consultant. So the selected engineering firm will assist the city as needed in 2019 and 2020. The city's in the process of updating the 2013 general sewer plan to include sewer service to the junction and all updated current and future development. So this is a major project, significant update, taking into account all of the growth and potential growth that we're seeing in the city. The stormwater utility rate ordinance was approved by City Council on May 8th. Staff is currently evaluating the final impervious areas for all the commercial property in the center for the number of equivalent residential units to be built per account. And repairs for pavement preservation are being evaluated for a project that can be constructed this year. This project will be paid using the motor vehicle fuel tax collected by Washington State. And that concludes the community development report. Happy to take any questions Mayor or Council may have.
On the last bullet up there, Jeff, what area are you guys looking at?
That's an excellent question. Councilmember Williams. I don't happen to know the specifics on that one, but I can certainly ask.
I was just curious what area that impacting.
Mr. Jenkins is here this evening. Matt, can you address that for the council member?
Yeah, one of the main areas we're looking at is the eastbound lane on the Center Road, just past the bridge, exiting town. There's some severe crack in there, so we're looking at replacing some spots along that.
Would that be where that it's subsiding?
Yes.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
past the bridge.
that's been dumped, had asphalt dumped in it before, so.
Yeah, we're looking at something a little more significant. There's nothing asphalt in it, but to do the entire road is kind of expensive. So
Oh, yeah.
we're looking at spot repairs, and Tony's digging into that right now.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've got questions. Good report, by the way. I like the detail in this. I like that. Riverside, Heritage Country Estates. The comment here, that the goal of the citizens is to create lots that reflect current circumstances on the ground. Are you able to elaborate on that?
Sure. So this was originally approved under a condo plat process. And so what we have out there is we have original survey documents that show lot lines for the individual residences one way, and the conditions on the ground are very different. And so what happens is when somebody wants to sell, they find difficulty financing those properties. So this effort would be to realign and have those lines reflect what's actually on the ground. So my understanding is that the residences are placed properly, but they may have a carport or an outbuilding of some kind that crosses the boundary line that's recorded in the survey documents.
Do you think this could have been caught sooner?
Well, I'm going to point the finger at the county on that, because that development actually occurred under the jurisdiction of the county and was later brought into the city. So it's one of these issues where there was some error on the front end that's now artifactual or has propagated into our current condition.
Yeah, and I understand these situations happen from time to time. This is not unique.
They do, but they happen less under a city's jurisdiction than they do under a county's jurisdiction.
Okay. I have a couple more questions. Riverside Apartments, 144 apartments by themselves. That is not medium density. Is medium density that area? Is that based on a calculation for the entire project? Because there's a mix of units up there.
Yeah, so in the preliminary plat conditions that were approved by the hearings examiner, there's a large lot subdivision on the south end of that development. And so one of the conditions that was imposed was there needed to be some buffering between that and the single-family residential units. So what that did is that kind of threw the density calculations off. So it basically it requires that there be some kind of multifamily or higher density housing project constructed as part of the overall project. So basically with the open spaces, the buffering that was required, and the multifamily density that's going in, overall the project will meet the required densities in the code.
Okay, thank you. And one more question. Lockwood Meadows, where exactly is that project, the 71-unit project?
That one is out Lockwood Creek Road. It's in the same sewer basin as where the new middle school is going to go.
Okay.
Basically right across from the middle school, where the middle school is proposed to be built on.
Okay.
Across Lockwood Creek Road.
Okay. Thank you. Good report.
Thank you. Thanks, Council.
Very good. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
So we have one other staff report this evening. It's the finance staff report. Dustin Bailey, our finance manager, is not here this evening. He's absent and excused. So our city accountant, Laura Martin, will be giving that report to us this evening. Did you step in a hole there?
Okay. Thank you, Mayor and council members. So I'll be going over Dustin's report. First would be the 2020 budget cycle kickoff. So finance staff and the budget advisory committee will be meeting and having the annual budget kickoff meeting in late May. We'll be discussing a revised budget development process, and we'll update council after the committee has discussed. Next item is the City of La Center business licenses. So before we did everything in-house, we are working on, finance staff is working with the state to transition the transaction processing for annual business licenses through them. The benefits of having the state process the city business licenses are the time the city staff is spending on it, and then applicants can handle both state and city business licenses in one location, as well as being able to complete them online as well. So the time savings alone in processing the administration of licensing will improve efficiency of the city operations while having no negative effect on the city revenues. The transition will be completed during the month of July. State sales tax overpayment. See this too? The Finance Department was notified by the State Department of Revenue of an overpayment of sales tax to the city. The overpayment was connected to the I-5 interchange project construction. The state incorrectly considered work by one contractor as being done on city property, but this work was actually completed on the tribal land. The work location was verified by city staff as being outside of the city limits. The sales tax overpayment is in the amount of $51,300. Finance worked with the State Department of Revenue to reduce the impact of the repayment of these funds. The city will see a reduction of sales tax revenues over a 4-month period in the amount of $12,825,000 per month. Finance staff is waiting to hear back from the state on when the 4-month repayment plan will begin. And then the last item we have is the stormwater utility fee. So the city council approved the implementation of the stormwater utility fee for the city of the center on the May 8th meeting. City staff are developing a informational mailer that will be included in the sewer bill in June. The stormwater utility fee will appear on the utility bill for the center residents beginning in July. And that's all I have.
Laura?
Thank you.
Yeah, I got one. Was that $51,300? Was that one payment to us
No, it was done over a year period.
over a year?
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be nice.
Right? Thank
Okay,
you.
great report, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is citizens' public comment. This is the time allotted for citizens to address the council, make public comment. Anyone that would like to address the council, please step up to the podium, and if you'd give us your name and address, and if you could limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Al Fellow, 152 West 15th Street. As the mayor said, the next Monday is Memorial Day. American Legion Post 189 in conjunction with Post 44 from Richfield. We'll be having a ceremony at 11:30. Hope to see you all there. We've had a pretty good turnout, so hopefully, people will, especially you guys out there that are listening and not here, will come. And the flags will be going up this weekend too. So again, God bless America and happy Memorial Day.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you for placing the flags on the bridge as well. It's awesome. Every time you guys do it, it's great.
Ken Biles is the one to thank. That was
Yep.
his idea.
Yep, well, you all do it, so thank you for that. Thank you for your service. Please do.
It's been a while since I've done this, so thank you, Mayor, and thank you, City Council members. My name is Jill Loken. I'm here with my husband, Chris Loken, tonight. We live up at 708 East 15th Circle, and we've been here a little over 2.5 years. And I just want to make this as quick as possible. We also have a geriatric cat named Leo, so I have to include him. He's our furry child. So I just wanted to say that one of the reasons we wanted to move here was because of all the natural beauty that we're surrounded by. My husband and I are walkers and hikers and mountain bikers, and we just feel like we really have found a wonderful spot here, and of course adjacent areas too. So that was the motivation to move to the center a little over 2 years ago. The thing that I'm here to talk about tonight, and also to get clarification on really, is I've gone online and I've looked at the fireworks information. So that's what I'm here to talk about, are the fireworks. And I've looked and I actually printed out and read the information that's here, and specifically section 8.25.070 that talks about the discharge of fireworks. And I just want to ask clarification on one sentence, and I don't expect you to have all these things in your memory, but maybe this is a hot enough topic, no pun intended, that you know this. And that is, it says, gives the hours that you're allowed to do this and so forth as a consumer. And then it says, is prohibited at all times on the streets and sidewalks of the city, and of course upon private property without permission. I just need clarification what that means on streets and sidewalks of the city, and it's because we're experiencing the opposite in our neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods as well. So I was just curious if I could get clarification. Does that basically mean if you're not literally on your turf, the land that you own or you're paying the bank for, out on the street and the sidewalk that the city owns, you're not supposed to be discharging fireworks? Is that what that means?
Well, that's a great question, Jill, and fireworks are a
Hot topic.
hot topic. So yeah, you
You're
really
avoiding that pun, is there?
yeah, no pun intended. And that's one of the reasons I mentioned earlier this evening that Clark County and the different jurisdictions in Clark County have been working together to try to come up with some alternatives for people to enjoy fireworks, so that we can start alleviating some of the local fireworks, and it gets to be quite the show. So I would really like to defer that question and have staff get back to you on that
Sure.
one.
Sure.
I'm not exactly sure who we can turn that over to, the city attorney or to our public works manager, but typically in council meetings, we welcome people to come and address the council, but we will get back to
Sure.
the staff members.
Sure.
But it's a great question, and it truly has been a real issue, for the cities in the past. It seems like our summers continue to get warmer, and fire hazards are a real concern. So the city council did address our ordinance last year. We've restricted the number of days that
Yes.
there's discharge, and we'll see where it goes from there. But I'm really encouraged by the county and their partner ALNA and other people that are stepping up to come up with some really good alternatives where people can enjoy fireworks, enjoy the 4th of July, and make it a whole lot safer for everyone.
And I appreciate that. I have to tell you that my husband and I, we were so shocked by, and again, I understand from having talked to over a dozen of our neighbors and other folks in town that the last 2 years were even really ramped up, or even worse, if we're going to use a word, than previous years because of surrounding cities reducing the amount of ability for individuals to shoot off fireworks. And so that the center kind of became this spot where a lot of folks were coming to do that with friends and family and neighbors that live here. But the amount of fireworks and the size of the detonations and the quantity of the debris and the duration of the explosions, I'm just here to tell you it's unbelievable. Like, it's so disturbing to me, and to, again, the dozen neighbors that my husband and I have spoken to their people having to pack up their children and their pets and so forth. It's just, to leave town just seems kind of crazy to me. And then our front yard was smoldering and burning on the morning of July 5th when I got up and I looked out, and I was just like, okay, I have to do something about this. So to try to wrap up, because I know I only have 3 minutes, I just want to know what I can do to help support. That's an alarm telling me to do something, I'm sorry.
That's your 3 minutes.
It's telling you, yeah. Fair enough. It took 45 seconds. So,
Good one.
what kind of additional support can we, the citizens, expect from, the law enforcement, which I know the center has 2 officers that are usually able to work that night. Is there any opportunity to get additional help, especially until the restrictions change again for 2020? I know we've got another year to go. And then, more importantly, what can I do, what can my husband do to help with this process? I learned about this meeting early this morning, and so I didn't have time to gather up some of those neighbors that I've been talking to over the last 6-7 months. Well, what can I do as a citizen here to try to affect some change?
I think you just did it, to be quite honest, so I appreciate you coming forward. Again, this is a topic that the council's been dealing with for some time now. And I often say that the 2 topics that will really bring people out and generate a lot of controversy are fireworks and marijuana.
Oh,
So
okay.
we have definitely covered both those here with the council, and like I say, staff will be getting back in touch with you, and I'd be happy to sit down and explore some of those things with you as well.
And thank you again very
Yeah.
much, and I know I exceeded my time, so thank you for that.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Each got some there.
Oh, go ahead.
I figured I might as well lodge a quick
No,
follow-up.
you're a tough one.
I'm going to second her motion.
Segue right in there.
Okay. Yeah.
My name is Chris Loken, Jill's wife at 708 15th Circle. And we've been thinking about this fireworks issue for 2 years, quite a lot. And she lit a fire under me tonight, to use another pun, to get down here. So we didn't do the usual amount of preparation that we like to before doing these sorts of things. But nonetheless, we're here to start addressing the issue that's been on our minds for all this time. Let me start by just reiterating her question. She was talking about where it's legal, specifically where it's legal to detonate fireworks. And let me ask another question. I didn't have time to really go through the code in detail, but I still have a question as to, I don't even know if explosive devices and flying devices are legal. Does anyone here know if explosive devices and flying devices are legal?
Well, again, Chris, I'd be happy to have staff get in contact with both you and your wife. I don't have the ordinance in my memory. I can't speak to it right off the top of my head, but again, we would be happy to talk with you about that some more.
Great. All right. Well, I'll just use a couple more minutes to itemize a few of our specific concerns. This is indeed the most intensive barrage I've ever experienced of personal fireworks in my life. I'm 55, and I've detonated a few fireworks myself in my day. I was accustomed to fireworks of the codes of Portland back in the 70s, and we did everything we could to get our hands on illegal fireworks as kids. I don't appreciate them as much now as I did when I was a kid. I did discover model rockets in junior high, and I found those to be much more interesting than fireworks quite rapidly. So perhaps I can convince a few enthusiasts to turn to model rockets, among other things. At any rate, I'll itemize a few of our specific concerns about fireworks. We find them to be an unreasonable disturbance of the peace at the levels that they're detonated here and flown here. Perhaps it is my biggest concern. The disturbance of the peace is really severe as far as we're concerned. But the disturbance of the wildlife and the destruction of the wildlife, I perceive to be, in my soul, to be the greatest harm. We've got a real jewel here, this wetland we live on. We live directly on a wetland. A small wetland that's right up there near our home on 15th Circle, and of course the Lewis River area. And I've done a fair amount of research as to how much fireworks are indeed devastating wildlife around the world over the past year and a half. Sporadically, I've been doing some research on that. And I discovered, ironically, that one of the most famous instances is the specific species that we have commonly here, blackbirds. They're wonderful, sublime species that we have here. Their murmurations are quite unique. You don't see that among very many species of bird. And in, I believe it's Alabama, I forgot the name of the town, but it's famously documented in many newspaper articles and such. They've experienced, witnessed in 2011 and 2012, consecutively it was reported, something like 5,000 blackbirds were killed in the town that was having their fireworks celebration on 4th of July that year. And then the following New Year's Eve, same thing happened. They wouldn't learn their lesson when they were deluged with 5,000 dead blackbirds. It was just astonishing when I read that, and it was the exact same species that's most conspicuous here, perhaps. So that's all I'll say tonight with regard to the wildlife. Next item is fire hazard, which has already been brought up, and Jill pointed out that indeed our lawn was ignited last 4th of July. I didn't realize what that smell was. I thought it was just the lingering smell of fireworks in general, until the next morning when we discovered our lawn was smoldering, and it was hot enough so it was quite a challenge to extinguish. Well, the bark actually, not the lawn.
Okay, excuse me, Chris, you've spent 3 minutes, so I'm going to ask you if you could please start wrapping it up.
Okay, one last thing. Negative impact on property value and quality of life. To the degree that prospective home buyers are learning of this issue, I'm confident that it is significantly harming property value and sellability. I'll leave it at that for now.
Very
Thanks
good.
very much.
Well, thank you for coming to the council.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Skip Carlson, 35915 Northwest Jenny Creek Road, the center. And this is a cheers, not a cheers. The other day, a week or 10 days ago, there was some promiscuous dumping on that piece of property we've got up there that comes down. I've got a piece of pipe across it onto the center road. And I called the police department just simply to report it. And I think it was Danny, I talked to Danny, and she sent an officer up there. I did not expect him to come, and just took a cursory report on promiscuous dumping. I was really pleased. It was really not necessary, because there's nothing the police are going to do, but I just wanted them to be aware. So there's that. And then there was some tires and some plastic and some car seats and blah, blah, blah. Then, I don't know who's doing it, but somebody's been picking it up there. And I just asked Matt, and he said, you know, I don't know who's picking it up, but it's all cheers to me. That's all I'm trying to say. But I was really pleased that there was an officer available, and I just made out a note of promiscuous dumping. It gets wearisome. It's not the first time, and it happens, and I had zero expectations of that. It's just a cheers for the service with our department.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yep. So, anyone else this evening? Seeing no one stepping up to the podium, I will close public comment. And that actually concludes our meeting for this evening. So with that,
Move to adjourn?
need a second. Second. It's been moved and second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everybody, for attending this evening. Have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend.
Did you get that email too?